again to the Forward Compatible Podcast. This is episode 97, part 2. Part 2.
December 15th, 2013.
It's true.
He's joined, as always, by his fellow podcasters, Jason,
Stinky,
Mark, and Mossies.
It should have been Mark, Jason, Mossies this time.
noob.
I know, it's like it's his first day or something.
Yeah.
This, of course, is part 2. If you have yet to do so, please pause the video and click out or check it out later. It really doesn't matter. With part 1, where this week, part 1 was nuts, but we do try to cover the news as well as answer
There was no news.
the viewers' questions.
And the question
This happens.
It was insanity. It was insanity.
And I remember his name. His name's Stumpy the Hedgehog.
It's true.
The trans.
But this, of course, is part 2, where we cover
Tony's topic of the week.
Why are you jealous of my sweet dance moves?
I'm not jealous.
You
I just
jealous.
look forward to adding the echo onto it every week.
I don't know, it makes it sound so bad.
No, it makes you sound like a lounge singer.
No, it doesn't really at all. It just sounds awful.
It's still gonna happen.
I know.
Every week.
I don't care. I'm not worried about
Do
it.
you watch the video?
Huh?
Do you watch
Yes.
the video?
It like blurs.
It's stupid. It's like a bubbly effect. It's fucking. It's really dumb.
It's really
Whatever.
gay.
This hater's gonna hate.
It's huge.
But I mean, look at yours. Doesn't cut away. Like the logo comes right across the live video and everything.
Yeah.
I put a lot of work into that every week, man, and you just don't appreciate.
No, I don't.
I was
don't
like,
hard
haters
work.
gonna hate, but you know. The
Mark
fuck happened to this
appreciates
guy's
all the hard
arms?
work that I do.
Yeah, sometimes.
I'm very appreciative.
So how's that archive coming?
Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
No way that's fucking happening.
All you're supposed to do is write and link.
It's just gonna be a link to YouTube.
That's all it's supposed to be. It's like episode 1, there's the link to YouTube. Episode 2, there's the link
Here's
to
the link to
YouTube.
media.
That's all it's supposed to be. We agreed on this. Tony does not understand how to work a website at all.
Yeah, I called it a 2 gigabyte hard drive in the last
So,
episode.
like, I need help. I can't turn to anybody else.
It's too terrible.
Okay, he'll probably delete everything.
Guys,
I don't get it. Where's the video?
where's everything?
Where's our YouTube page? I lost it.
They asked if I wanted
Didn't
to
realize
delete
that
this
we were
and
logged
confirm
into
this.
Moss's account. You delete all of it.
This
Guys,
is why I.
Where's getting to know Moss? I can't find Zelda Dungeons page. Oh fuck.
Okay, this week we're trying something that's been in the works for a few weeks, and we weren't.
Horsey Gaming.
It's been a few years.
It'll happen.
We did it.
Fucking Lord.
Did it,
I just didn't
actually.
call it Horizon Gaming. We finally did
They
it.
were nice about it.
So it was.
I nominate Ada Wong.
We're gonna talk about reviews,
Fuck.
and I don't really know where the conversation is gonna go quite yet. I know one of our main focus points, but let's talk about some of these reviews, shall we?
It's not a fucking Rubik's Cube, Mark.
The arms don't go the right way.
He's handicapped.
Peel the stickers off and
Alright.
okay.
Did you turn him back around?
Put him away.
You give me Stumpy the Hedgehog now.
We'll give you a minute.
Tony.
He's like negotiating
Tony?
with you. I'm not.
Fuck
getting,
yeah, I did
I'm
it.
not getting in the middle of this.
No!
No. Alright, now Sam's gonna eat that. And then I'm gonna be
Eat it.
picking up blue shit.
That's okay.
No, it's not. I know where you live. Both places. See, I told you! Sammy, no!
Okay. Shall we continue with the show?
Thanks. It's
I gotta
going
go
by the
save
end of the
Stumpy.
show.
Okay, go.
So reviews. So let's get some initial thoughts out of the way, gentlemen.
Well, first let me, reviews. I like certain reviewers in particular that I really trust their opinions. And however, I understand that there's always differing opinion. A review is always just an opinion. And while I don't completely trust like an individual review as their
Right.
one like tell all, I think collectively I'm a firm I trust reviewers as a whole. And I know like sites like Metacritic and Game Rankings that do these aggregate review scores. They get, thrown under the bus a lot. But I really do think that is what the collective opinion is of not just 1 or 2 or 5 reviewers, of 40 or 100. And I think overall they do a very good job at like, hitting it on the mark.
We're gonna hit Mark.
Yep. Go.
Oh, that was a tag off. I was expecting a hail of fists.
You gotta give him the cue. Go.
Mark.
Anyway, reviewers as a whole, I'm gonna agree with you on that. I actually like Metacritic because it is it's the average of what everyone thinks of it. It's kind of how it should be, I guess. I mean, if you have certain reviewers who you think higher of, I definitely think their opinion's gonna weigh more on your decision to get a game. And I think if there's a few that you don't like, you're not gonna care. You're just like, oh, they let him review it. I mean, I feel about that way on certain websites. I'm just like, I don't know who this new guy is, or he gave that last game I liked a 7, so I'm biased now. I don't know. Kind of like reading a play review.
Reviews are weird. Like, I read them all the time, but I don't really take them too seriously because it's like one person's opinion. Because every game I've ever played, the way that I feel about it has never been identical to the way anyone else has felt about it. I more or less read it. I see what they say about the game. Usually when they take the time to point out issues in the game, like stuff that doesn't function correctly, or if there's camera angle issues and stuff like that, that I usually take pretty literally because they're showing something very specific that they felt didn't work right. And that usually ends up coming off onto my playthrough too, because then I can't look at anything but that. But usually I give games the benefit of the doubt anyway and give them a shot. Sometimes they really are bad, like with Zombie U. I should have listened.
Should have listened.
Well,
We didn't listen.
Hold on.
Wait,
Wait. Because I didn't go yet.
I wasn't even done going, but everybody...
Finish going. Go.
You said the keywords though. We didn't listen.
We didn't listen. I don't even. Just go ahead. I don't know anymore now.
Damn itself.
I hate probably 99.9 of every review I've ever read.
And of all people.
No, that's the exact opposite. Actually, the only reviews that I trust are the reviews that my friends give me. If they tell me it's a good game, 9 times out of 10 they're right. It may not be something that I like, but it's a good game. Angry Andy is somebody that is very, very opinionated with what he plays. But if he tells me it's a good game and it's something that I need to check out, I'm going to try it. You know, I've got obviously the staples that I know and love that I'm going to play regardless of whatever anybody else says. And more or less, like I said, I tend to listen to what my friends say because they invested their money into the game, invested their time. That means more to me than somebody I don't know who theoretically gets paid to play these games. That's theoretically. With some of the bigger ones out there.
I think that's a good point. I think word of mouth is way better than any review could be for any title.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what were you going to say, sir?
Well, you mentioned a particular game, and a lot of games get, like, people always like to throw in, oh, it got mixed reviews. What the hell does mixed reviews mean? Like, if like everybody in the world gives it a 5 or a 6 out of 10, and then one person gives it a 10, oh yeah, it's a mixed bag. Just throw it it's hard to really quantify what mixed is, and I don't really like that term, which is sort of why I like aggregate reviews, like a game rankings or a Metacritic, where it takes everybody, gives it a numerical value, and ranks it. And so, like you mentioned, a game like Zombie U. I believe the Metacritic and the game ranking score is it's like 72%. There's been review scores in the mid to upper 8s for that game. I think there's a few 9s actually in that for that one. While on the at the other end, it has a 4. You know, some people like that is a mixed review because there's all over the spectrum. Or another game would be like Beyond Two Souls. Some games gave that like a mid 9. I think they were the lowest score. Somebody gave like a 2.5 out of 10. Like, I've never seen a spectrum like that. But having played that game, I understand I can see why that has differentiating views. But to say a game that gets in the low 7s and is a bad game because that's what the critics says, I don't agree with that premise.
I think, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but a prime example is there's a game that Tony and I have both played that,
Got shat on.
yeah, got generally lower end reviews, 6s, 7s, and completely.
Rise.
Yeah, Rise.
Yeah, this is what sprung up the conversation earlier.
And completely blew me away. Like, I was amazed with everything that game did.
I think a lot of it had to do is we both went into it with extremely low expectations because of the shit we heard. I had a lot of fun with it.
For me, honestly, though, I'm being completely honest. I want to say it was, tagging up on last week's topic of the week, it was like Spike VGA's 2 years ago that they showed the little first-person teaser for it and announced it was going to be a 360 Connect game.
Yeah, it was like, ugh.
And so, like, first when I saw it, and you saw the guy's foot kick the guy in the chest, I was like, this is awesome! And they're like, 360 Connect. I'm like, fuck that. But I followed the evolution of it, and I've always stayed interested in the game. I honestly, if I'm that dedicated to a game, I could care less what anybody else, review-wise, has to say about it. I'm going to try it for myself. Another prime example, and I know you absolutely hated it, and this is
Lollipop Chainsaw?
Lollipop Chainsaw. There's
very few games I hate, so I knew exactly where
it was
going with
horrible.
this.
I will be the first to tell you that game is not worth $60. Okay, but it was fun to play through if you went in with that like B movie aspect of it, and didn't really care, So
one of my favorite games I put in this generation was Darkest of Days, and it's because I went in knowing it was a B movie game, and honestly, anything above that made it spectacular, just because it was from nobody.
Yeah.
Well, you bring up Rise because that's the big one that sprung up this conversation. Amongst I know it's hard to quantify a game in a score, but
quantifying.
How would you rank that and compared to your favorite games for the last 2 years or so? Like, if you were to give it a score or something, like.
See, I'm also of the opinion that I don't like scores because scores don't really have a meaning. Some people rank games between 1 and 5. Some rank them between 1 and 10. Some rank them between 1 and 100. Okay. I mean, yeah, you can generally kind of figure out. I prefer to look at how I view a game. Is it worth my money? Okay. So Rise being a $60 title, I do not regret purchasing that for $60. I don't regret my investment with it. Okay. The 8+ hours of gameplay I got out of it was well worth it. That's the way that I look at it. Now, here's an example. I'm a diehard Gears of War fan. Do I think Judgment was worth my $60? No.
$40.
The gameplay experience that I did have with my friends was worth that money, but the game wasn't worth that. Walking Dead Survival Instinct. I bought that brand new. Okay? I was like, I have to try it. Okay? I'm a Walking Dead fan. I don't care. I'm going to try it. Was that worth $60? Hell no. Was that a $5 arcade game? Maybe. With as bad as it was, I would have felt good with my investment of $5 on that. Andy and all of them, they're dying to get me to play Killing Floor. Okay? Which looks like a great game, right? But for me, it's not worth my investment. It's not worth my money.
$3.74.
Not worth it.
Seriously?
Not worth it. Because it's not something
It's one of the best shooters to come out in a long time.
It's not something I'm going to play on a regular basis. It's something that I'm going to play once every 6 months with my buddies. That's not worth it to me.
$3.
For me,
buy it for me, and then I'll play it. That's what I keep telling them.
Yeah. For me, I'm of the belief that, like Jason brought up some good points. Like, people are always on different scales. Like, some people letter grade, some are on 1 to 5, some are on stars, some are on points, some are blah 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 blah. I'm of the belief that if you're going to use a scale 1 to 10, I mean everything. Even if you're on 1 to 5, you can figure it out because a 4.5 out of 5 is a 9. It's out of 10. And I think you could just kind of feel it, like I know some people are like, every game starts out at 100 or a 10 out of 10 and loses points. And some people are like, every game starts out at a 0 and does it control well? Okay, it's an automatic 2. Was the story good? Okay, we'll bump it up to 4. And you just kind of go that way. Some people start right in the middle and fucking you either lose points or gain points. I get this thing, like, when I'm playing a game, I played so many games throughout my life, you could just feel it. You're like, this has some flaws. It was a good story. This feels like a 7. This feels like an 8. In your gut when you're playing something, is it one of those, 10 or 15 truly amazing experiences you've had throughout your life that you would grade a 10? Is it the most broken piece of crap you ever played? You kind of know when you're going through something. And I knew that right away when I was playing with Rise. I on my thing, I would give it like a extremely high 7 or an 8. I don't think it's better than an 8 out of 10. I'm not trying to argue that. I've played plenty of better games than it. It was a ridiculously good game, a lot of fun, a lot of action.
And see, like your opinion, an 8 is above average to me. Like that means it's worth the time to play. As to where a high 7 for generally out there, they're like, wait till it's on sale or whatever. Like, when did a 7 become so bad?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think it's because we're flooded with good games now. There's no bad games like bad games as in like NES level bad games that like you play for 2 minutes and this is the worst game you've ever experienced.
Yes, there are.
I mean, maybe some shovelware on the Wii or something. But
Walking Dead Survival Instinct.
well, even that, like, it's still a game. Like, there's like things that are.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't think it's comparable. Like the maybe some stuff on the Wii though. Some of that was.
We won't delve into the shovelware because I mean realistically we're talking about 4 people here that didn't touch any of that.
Right.
Realistically,
I bought like Game Party Champions on the Wii.
That's different though. That's not like you're not playing that to have a great
video game
experience.
I just want to stream it and have fun.
That exactly, or that's
crowd.
something that you play. Like, hey guys, I've got this really horrible game. Let's everybody sit around and play it. Kind of deal. That's an exception to the rule.
Yeah.
You didn't go out and buy that with the intention of having a great gameplay experience. You're like, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah. If you want a great gameplay experience, pick up Mario Party.
But
Mario Party.
But people, there's so many good games now where maybe somebody buys 6 games a year or whatever. I think the average consumer, maybe that, I don't know where that is, but there is going to be 6 games every year that are in the 9s in terms of these
totally
aggregate
justify your
scores.
purchase. Yeah.
Like this past year, it's like, all right, I'm going to buy 6 games. All right, I'm going to buy BioShock. That was one of the best games of the year. I'll buy Tomb Raider. Maybe I'll buy
Last of Us, Mario.
Yeah, you're going to buy the best 5, 6, and if you're more of a hardcore gamer, the best 12, 15, 20 games. And to the point where you look at an aggregate score, Rise got a 61% on game rankings. That was the average. You mentioned you gave it an 8. Like the highest review it got, I think, was an 8.6 out of 10. The highest, the best. So it's like, all right, look what all the games that came out this November. Like I can get Battlefield, I can buy Mario, I can buy Zelda, I can buy Dead Rising.
You're pretty quick on what's right now the Metacritic for Battlefield.
I don't know off the top of my head. I will check that.
That's why I said you're quick with it. So
I'll get that.
Yeah, because here's an interesting point, right?
I'll look it up.
And I'm pretty sure that everybody, review-wise, gave Battlefield phenomenal scores because it's Battlefield, okay? Which right now is the most broken game available on the market for a AAA. Besides that cricket game that came out on Steam a couple weeks
Hilarious.
ago. Okay.
What?
They canceled it
Yeah, look
after
it
it
up.
was released.
Yeah. I didn't know you could do that.
But
Give refunds to everybody.
I'm really
It's a
now.
keep it.
I would imagine now it's dropped, but I'd be curious to see what it was a month ago when it launched.
I remember looking at it at one point.
Currently on the PS4, it's an 86.
an 86 for a game that's practically unplayable.
Battlefield, you would say it's that bad?
It's not
unplayable
that
bad.
unstable.
When
Day
you're
one?
wait.
Yes.
When you're on the final level,
79 on 360.
when you're on the final level, and your game save crashes and you have to start over from the beginning twice, I'd say that's pretty broken.
Who's
Well,
that?
it
Who's
hasn't
that
been
from?
patched.
6.3 on the Xbox One.
My friend Stan.
Battlefield?
When you can't play
So it did not
the
get
meat and
reviews,
potatoes of the game
No, every
is
system has a different
multiplayer,
Metacritic because of the brokenness.
and it's broken.
and an 80 on the PS3.
They've come
So
out.
PS3
They've
and the
shown.
360 scored the highest.
They've shown the hit detection, how far off it is. How absolutely they stopped making DLC for this game to get the entire DICE team to work on fixing it. And it's an 86.
on
Current gen.
That's what I'm
consoles.
saying.
No, it's a good point.
Current gen consoles.
And
But
all these
was there any
complaints that I'm
problems on
getting,
current gen?
all the complaints that I've heard from the people that I know are
PS4.
playing Battlefield are PS4. So I guarantee 99% of the same problems are happening on Xbox. But overall, for a game, the highest score that you've noted that it has is an 86.
But that's on Xbox 360 and PS3.
No, that was PS4.
Was it PS4?
PS4 are the highest.
I got all confused
Yeah.
now.
It was PS4 had the highest.
I just read all 4 off. I don't know.
Okay.
But generally speaking,
I don't. Has it been patched or is it?
Yeah.
Is it okay.
Sort
like
of.
3 times.
Like when Skyward Sword came out, there was a game-ending glitch where if you did something, you
Same with
screwed your
Pokemon.
game and you had to go 30 hours early to
Yeah.
reset.
Also this year.
Does that negate a score a little bit? Maybe, but like.
But that's a glitch that Nintendo was able, and I know that's a very rare example that Nintendo was able to tell you exactly what causes it and how to avoid it. This is you load your game, hey, your save's corrupted.
Yeah.
You know.
But it got corrected in a few. I don't know if I buy that. Like I don't know if I really drop a game considerably, like don't get the game basically. If you give something a 6 out of 10 in this environment, that's don't get the game. That's really what it is. Don't buy it. It's not worth your time. And so a game like Battlefield
As soon
4,
as I heard about these issues, and this is like again how I review games. I hear things from friends. Okay, and that helps me base my decision. I immediately called Tony. I'm like, don't open your Battlefield. Even though he didn't have any intentions on it, I'm like, don't even fucking touch it right now because you're going to hate it. Because there's so many
Yeah,
problems
give it
with
a few weeks till they
Wait.
patch it all. It kind of segues nicely into what I wanted to bring up because Moss just said something interesting. He said a 6 out of 10 basically equates to don't buy. Let's talk about some of this a little bit now because the grading scale isn't that kind of wrong though?
Yeah.
Shouldn't like
A 5 should be average.
Shouldn't like a 4 to 6? Like I feel like every game. I don't know. Like if it's good, people automatically feel like it has to be a 7 or an 8. Like shouldn't a good game be like more like a 5 and a 6?
I think it's
And a great game be more like 7, 8, and a fucking buy get a 10 or 9.
I agree.
And like 3 or 4 should have that stigma around it, where we currently place 6.5 and 7.
And I believe, and I know they're not in publication anymore, that's how GamePro used to do it. It's like a 5 would be average. Because they used to also have the little color. You know, it would be red, and then yellow, and then green, and they'd show like the number like, of what they were giving you. I believe, if I remember correctly, it's been a number of years since I've picked up a GamePro, but
I don't think they make.
that's why I said they're out of publication. But I mean, from what I remember, like 5 was their average. They had it right.
I'd say that there are some publications that still do that. Like one publication's 7 out of 10 is the equivalent to another publication's 5 out of 10. But when you go into these aggregate scores, that all gets blended in to the point where every game on this website is 2 points lower than it should be. And it works itself out, and that's part of the aggregate. That's why I think I trust it. But I think that the whole grading scale, I think it's based on the historical school system. So if you take a math test or something and you get a 62% or something, oh, that's a D minus. That's a bad score.
But it's a
This is why I think that scale has got like, and you go to an average high school around the suburbs around here, like the vast majority of kids are passing or getting 60% or higher. If you're getting a 50, if you only know half the stuff, you're getting a 50%, you're a failure. And that's just how our grading scale works. And I think that translates to the games.
I don't disagree, but see, you're also factoring in overall percent. So like if they came out and, and they said every game starts off at 100%, and then we're going to deduct points from there, then I can understand. Okay, but when you start talking about 6.5 out of 10, it gets it. The problem is, and I know this is a point that Tony's going to want to go to, is some type of standardized scoring system. I would imagine is something that you're going to bring up. No,
I didn't plan on it.
Okay.
But it's a good idea.
Where because like we were saying, a 6.5 for one reviewer could be good, another one could be crap, or a 65%. I think there should be, to make it easy. I mean, there's a rating system that's in place to tell people what the game is involved in, and everybody can have their own individual opinions on a rank of what they feel a game is. Tony may feel that Rise is a 8.5. I may feel it's a 9, but we have a general scale. With education, you have a general scale that applies to everything for the most part. You know, A, B, C, D, E, F. Or I'm sorry, A, B, C, D, F. I never got where there was no E.
I always got E's in school.
Did you?
Sometimes there's A, B, C, D, I.
Yeah, it gets a little weird.
Yeah.
They don't want to fail kids.
But like you were saying with the percentages, that's a kind of a standardized thing where a 65% is a C and so on and so forth. So I really think there should be a standardized scoring used in the video game industry. They can all come together and you know, work out an ESRB, and I understand that that's a little different, but there should still be some type of, this is the standard that we're setting, everybody go with it. Generally with movies, you have two things. You have stars and thumbs up, right? I mean, and Siskel and Ebert are the only guys that really did thumbs up, thumbs down, kind of.
Yeah, but even the star system's fucked up because Hollywood does it too. There's the general one, the 1 to 4 stars, but a lot of people are starting to integrate the 5 and out of 10 and.
But I'm just using it as a general example. When you go to see a movie or you look on, I know Rotten Tomatoes gives a percentage, which is go, don't go. But like Fandango, 4.5 stars. Or when you're looking on Netflix and it gives you, it's stars. Everybody has a general idea of how to understand what that means. And then when you have 6.5, 82%, you know, 1 out of 5, it kind of muddies the water and it confuses people a little bit more. I think if there was a generalized standard, then people's opinions would matter more for what they feel the game is. Be like, okay, I trust this guy's opinion. He's never steered me wrong. He gives the game this score.
I think that's why I tend to steer away from the actual I actually read reviews. Like people like kind of they'll read the first fucking paragraph, they'll read the summary at the end and look at the score and move on with their life and then bitch about it in the comments. Yeah, Mark?
No, I don't comment, but yeah, I do that in some things where I'm not fully interested in, yeah.
I like actually read the whole thing because like usually they take the time to explain why they got to the score that they got to. They don't just go, well, it wasn't there. 6.5.
Things I'm more interested in, I'm totally fine reading it, and then I might pick a paragraph like halfway down the page.
Painkiller, 6.5. No.
6.5 on Painkiller. High score! 6.5.
Where's the new franchise?
Like I read a ton of reviews. Like there's sometimes like for a game, I'll read 3 reviews and watch 2 video reviews of the exact same game of a game that I might not even pick up, but I'm just interested in the industry as well. Like a game like Rise, going back to that, I read like. Why is everybody like? Because it was weird. It was
everybody that reviewed it gave it a horrible score. Everyone that played it loved it.
I would say everybody. I know like 4 people that played it, and I got 4 positive reviews. Maybe this has just happened.
But that's that's 4 people that you know.
Well, part of me thinks everybody that got it. Maybe this is just me, but there's a lot of Xbox fans got it, and there's a desire to like it. They want to like it. And whereas a game reviewer is might not be loyal to a franchise or a system or anything. They might not be a day one purchaser other than their job. But the person that does get a day one are the people that want
I could understand how the scales would be tipped more in the favor of
the user scores.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have told you if the game sucked. I say plenty of games suck on the show. I'd be like, dude, the game's garbage.
Go back and listen to how bad I tear up Dead Rising. And I mean, I hated that when I first played it. I'm like, this is fucking garbage. Played it a little bit more, gave it a little bit more time, kind of figured it out a little bit, and it's good. It's good, Tony.
It's pretty good.
NBA right now, it feels very weird to me. It doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel like it plays like
games
it's not good.
You see, exactly. But now I'm.
Sure, I wouldn't give it
but if I play it for another week or so, get some more, my opinion might change on it. You know.
I'm also with NBA. I just don't care about basketball, which has a lot to do with it.
Another game that
the game functioned well. It wasn't like a broken game. It was just like didn't interest me at all. I was bored within like 2 minutes. That's bad.
I'd like to know how to play.
It's coming from the guy that played TMNT like 2 weeks ago.
But like another game was
It was a better game.
Another
Better
recent,
game than-
Oh, it's so bad.
another game in the same scope as Rise is Knack just came out, and it got the same atrocious scores in the
even for
atrocious low sixes.
I played that game. That game is not deserving of 6s. It's worse.
You know,
And I'm a PlayStation. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it is not a good game.
but like Rise they basically got identical scores. Barely like a 61%, I think, on game rankings for both games, where the lowest was like a 3 or 2.5 out of 10.
I see, but it wasn't that bad. Like,
Well, some people thought it was that bad. Same with both games. And then the highest, I don't think that game got any 9s, Knack. I think the highest were in the 8s. Same
See,
with
now,
Rise.
now with Knack, I know 3 people that played it. 2 said it's horrible. 1's good. So I'm gonna obviously take the opinion of the 2 people who I know a little bit more and are gamers, other than the one person that's like, oh, it was cute.
Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of people that I've probably watched more videos and things about Knack than anything because I was so interested in this game.
You were
I
getting
was
ready
too.
to launch a fucking...
Yeah, I bought a domain called knackuniverse.net that I never.
Really?
Yeah, that I was like.
Worst investment ever.
I never.
Behind Fort Metal.
It was Mark Cerny. Everybody wants to like it. They want it to succeed, you know. And there's some people that defend it to say like, oh, it's it's not a great game, but it's fun. It's different.
Quirky.
It's a platformer.
It's quirky.
Quirky. Like
It's like a 3...
like people say it's one of the most impressive with the like thousands of animated objects at the once.
Yeah, that's impressive. But there's gonna be
I heard
100
he
games
walks
to
like
do
he's
that
gotta
next
take a
year or
poop.
two anyway.
Yeah, there's that. But like, it didn't get good reviews. And the thing with like now jumping back, so I'm going back and forth because these are 2 games that just came out on 2 different systems that were launch titles.
I think they're great ends of the spectrum, though.
But Rise, like everybody was complaining. Every single review I've read was when you're an hour into the game, you fought 10 enemies or whatever, and then once you're at the 6th hour point, you're fighting those same 10 enemies over and over and over and over and
Rinse and
over.
repeat.
Yeah, and there's no progression of the enemies really.
That is true. But there's definitely a progression of story that explains why you're.
There's a lot, but then again,
But I mean, just as a pure example, I said it to Tony. I was like, every time I started to get bored with the game or like the environment that I was in, that chapter ended and it changed. For the most part, every chapter has a different look.
what was this? You're like in a jungle, then you're in a fucking desert,
enemies
then you're in a
are
coliseum, then you're on a pirate boat. Are you fucking kidding?
The enemies are very
Same.
similar, but the environments change, and I didn't realize until I was like 70% way through the game that the biggest fucking upgrade skill on the screen is executions. I upgraded everything else other than that. Didn't dawn on me that I could click that and there was this plethora of other moves that I had.
Yeah.
So like the game stayed fresh for me because by the time I got tired of seeing the 15, 20 executions that I had, I realized I could buy more.
yeah. But that was
I should say unlock more because buy makes it sound like I bought DLC or microtransactions or.
Some of the reviews I heard that for a hack and slash game it was not as unique as like a God of War in terms of like the level of combat.
Sure.
It was,
God of War is better than Rise.
Yeah.
and it not just
Not Ascension though. The other God of Wars.
The best way, and I guess so now I don't have it anymore. I've traded it in. I've gotten some different games because I've spent my time with it, and I took the full advantage of that I could with trading credit and whatnot. You ever play Call of Duty?
I played Modern Warfare 1.
Okay. So different environments, but you're shooting the same enemy types.
Yeah.
And you're basically, your gun kind of changes, but you do the same thing over and over, right? That's what
That's exactly
what Rise is.
exactly what I was going to bring up. I don't know what people are expecting. This takes place during the Roman Empire. I mean, there's soldiers, then there's
and then the
officers,
and
you fight all that.
the
Like,
armor looks the same, but your colors change.
You're in the middle of a war, and you're fighting essentially infantry.
Why can't I fight giant purple elephants?
Yeah.
Oh, you do fight elephants.
You
I
actually,
didn't
you
know
actually,
Fucking
do,
high five!
you
Shoot
actually,
some
you
motherfucking
actually
elephants.
do kill elephants in that game.
Well, I mean, I think you're simplifying that a little bit. Like just because the era it takes place in means they're
Well, no,
limited
it's a lot. What he's trying to say is it's a battlefield.
Yeah.
Okay, so just like in a Call of Duty, you have the same enemy types coming at you. Maybe you're in a winter, so they're in winter camo coming at you, but they're the same, essentially the same character models, couple of different things, slightly altered, but through the entire campaign it's the same, right? If you go into Rise with a first-person shooter perspective on it, you're gonna have a great fucking time with it. You are.
That's, I think, what I did and why I enjoyed it so much. I walked into it thinking it was Call of Duty set, like a Call of Duty campaign set in the Roman Empire, and I had a fucking blast. I don't know.
I think there's some legitimacy to that. I mean, if you could overlook some of those and just, it was like, I think we talked about this a few podcasts ago, where if a game has such a good story, you can overlook things, and it's still a good game.
You can overlook the repetitiveness.
Yeah,
as long as it can keep you captivated.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that bored. I mean, these aren't like spoilers, so don't freak out. But they're just like, I mean, at the beginning you're in Rome, you're defending it because the story takes place as Rome is falling. That's when you're there, and first you're fighting some Roman infantry. Then you're like, there's like this weird island. It's England essentially.
Yeah,
but
they're barbarians.
Yeah, they call them the barbarians, but it's England.
Yeah.
And they're totally different character models. And then there's... So, like, as soon as you're done fighting all the
Romans?
No, because you are Roman. You're fighting the barbarians.
Yeah, then you go to the barbarians.
Then you go to England. I forget what they call them. Okay, so as soon as you play 2 or 3... There's 8 levels. You play 2 or 3 and you're fighting the regular infantry from the opposing units. Then you go to England and they're completely different character models. So it's only 3 chapters.
They're like tribesmen almost.
Yeah, then you're fighting them. They're completely different. They're bigger, they're harder, they're completely modeled different with different moves, different weapons, and you play for them another 2 chapters. And you're already 5 or 6 in, and then you come back and it's when everything falls apart.
And that's where we
don't
want to say anymore.
The game ends. It's not... I don't know. It's just like these people that are making it sound like there's like just 2 guys to fight for 8 hours. It didn't feel like that when you actually play it. It just...
The final fight, which I'm not going to spoil, was one of the most epic battles. Simplistic, but just the way that it played out was probably in my very close to the top moments that I've had in gaming this past year. I ranked that very high, just the way that they played it out. It was done very well.
It was cool. It was
good. It was good. Next point.
I don't have any. This is free flowing. I don't have any points. I just want
one point. Well, here let's jump into one that the reason that I wanted to bring this up is you've been playing A Link Between Worlds.
Yeah.
And you absolutely love it, but you made the comment that it doesn't matter what it is if it has Zelda in the title, it's immediately an 8.
Zelda's graded is reviewed on a review score of 8 to 10.
8 to 11.
It's a Zelda game. It's an 8. All right, now let's actually look at the game. Mm-hmm. That I think there's a lot of truth to that.
There's a pedigree there.
Yeah, I think you could say the same about the Call of Duty games too, to an extent. When
Call of Duty cannot score lower than an 8, so they cannot.
When you're looking at like an Infinity Ward or whatever that has made great Call of Duty game, great Call of Duty game, great Call of Duty game. Oh, they're coming out with a new Call of Duty game. It's the same game. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could
not you've been playing for years.
Like if it, they make these subtle changes from year to year.
It's pretty shiny,
And
look, you're underwater now.
To pull a Madden.
Hey, look, you're in well, you're always underwater. Every fucking one of them.
Every Call of Duty game, it seems like the Call of Duty fans have fun playing it. There's no I don't know any Call of Duty fan that got to a certain level and they played every game and then they got to one and be like, oh, this one's boring. You don't see that.
Oh, I know the exact point when I stopped playing Call of Duty. I remember it vividly. It's like, fuck this game. Modern Warfare 2. That's where I stopped way back. Okay, I'm running. We're playing multiplayer. Dude throws a knife, bounces off a fucking garbage can, and kills me. From 50 yards. Throws a knife out a fucking window, bounces off a garbage can, kills me. Like, fuck this!
Just a minute on YouTube.
That sounds like not just a rage quit of a game, but a rage quit of a franchise.
Worst in the franchise! Worst in the franchise!
I franchise quit!
Yep, I did.
Rage franchise
this, man. I'm going back to Battlefield.
But Infinity Ward's going to make a good Call of Duty game. At least it'll be up to a certain standard, which is why I think it garners that level. The same thing I can say with Zelda to an extent. You know that specific team is making it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make bad games for the most part, and
Naughty Dog.
But I think
even though
They're in a 9 to 10 scale,
they tend to
lately.
take more risks by changing franchises, but I'd say they even apply to that same scale. Here's a prime example. Anybody want to take a shot in the dark and guess a review score on Destiny?
Bungie makes good games though.
I know,
Yeah.
but
that's
that's
a new IP. That's different. I don't
No.
think I
take a shot. Take it, Andrew Dillon. Judge your little pen. It's not out till September. Let's take a shot.
I
Destiny.
can't say that. I
9 out of
Based
10.
on Bungie's pedigree.
9 out of 10.
Based on Bungie's pedigree, what are you giving Destiny?
Actually,
I expect it to be very good. I expect it to be a lot of 9s. I really do.
Okay.
I will be. It's one of those things where, like going back to the Zelda thing. If I see a review of the brand new Zelda game that comes out and a review score gives it an 8 out of 10, I'm like, oh wow, this is it's almost disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, it's not perfect or close
It's
to
like a
perfect.
7 out of 10 for a game.
Yeah.
Like an average.
Mark, Destiny.
I'll say I'm expecting 9s and 9s.
Expect the best from them.
You know, I'm going to go against the grain because they're all picking
10s.
9. I'm going to say 10 out of 10. Perfect score.
8.7. 8.7.
You're fucked for those people who have the 4 out of 5 stars.
It'll
8.7.
It'll hold itself back because it's a I guess we can say last gen game now. It's a last generation
That's
game.
why.
Yeah.
That's why.
So
It's going to have some issues with the open world, multiplayer. It's going to have some issues that'll hold it back a little bit. 8.7.
I think any game that's a current gen, any game like next gen is now the standard. So any game that's a multi-generation game, it's going to be weird.
It's already behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily like.
Anybody want to
killer,
pick another
but-
one off the wall here?
The order.
The order.
All right. There's one that you're interested in.
Well, Ready at Dawn has not proved themselves on console, so
But
Ready
You
Dawn.
have enough-
Ready Dawn has not
hold
made a
on.
bad game.
Hold on.
Ever.
I know. But they've
you
made
have enough interest in the
PSP
game
and Vita games.
to purchase a domain for
Yes.
it, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you have a vested interest in the game, even at a minimal extent.
Yeah.
What do you say? Order.
I have a lot of confidence in it. You can't give a review for a score.
It's a guess.
On a cinematic trailer.
I'm just shooting out guesses.
Well, let me
here.
just say this.
Shots in the
Here,
dark.
this is how I'll say it. I had more confidence in Knack being a success than I do The Order.
Okay.
Because Mark Cerny was making that, and he doesn't make bad games. Ready
Till
at
now.
Dawn has not proven themselves as much as the Knack team.
Okay.
So that's the way I'll put it.
Mark. The Order.
We'll give it 8 out of 10.
Like this is so arbitrary. We don't even know what kind of game place.
9.5 out of 10.
That's the best part.
It's
It's
Ridiculous.
unfounded speculation and rumor. It's what we do.
They came out with one trailer.
I
I'm
got
gonna
8 out of
one.
10.
Hold on, I
I'm
got
gonna
one.
say The Order falls a little flat.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm gonna say 7.5.
That's why I went with 8.
Okay, I got a good one to close this
Needs
out.
improvement.
I got a good one to close this out.
Oh boy.
What's the next game that's currently announced that's expected to be good that's gonna bomb?
Watch Dogs.
No.
Bomb is
Dogs.
relative.
Well, you know what I mean. What's the next knack?
Watch Dogs. I'm still gonna buy it. I'm still gonna play it. But it's gonna be Watch Dogs. Something's wrong with that game. Right now, as it stands, something's wrong. Something's broken with Watch Dogs.
No.
That was supposed to be like a top tier AAA game coming out this holiday season when there wasn't a whole lot. Right now would have been the window of opportunity for it,
Yeah.
right? I'm saying Watch
I
Dogs.
wouldn't have had to buy Battlefield.
Infamous maybe? Titanfall? There's a lot of like big games coming out that there's such high
It doesn't have to be
expectations.
big. Just anything announced that's not out yet.
I think Titanfall is one of them because of that same thing I said earlier with the generations. People are hyping that like no other. And
Fucking robots.
it's a 360 game. That's the way I see it. I mean, there's only so much you can do making a 360 and Xbox One.
No,
game.
that's an Xbox One game that's getting ported down.
I'm expecting.
I don't know if
I
that's-
The whole thing is always online. It was built for the Xbox One.
I don't know how big you put this at this point, but I think Wolfenstein. I don't expect high things for that. But I don't know how high your expectations were
I don't.
already.
I don't.
Mine or not.
I personally don't classify Wolfenstein anymore as a AAA title.
Mm.
It's-
That's what I
it's-
mean. Like
it's- a game like, for me, like Destiny, Titanfall, and even in some regards, Watch Dogs, they can move systems. Okay? Somebody will buy a system to play that game. I bought my Xbox One to play Watch Dogs initially.
You got screwed.
Okay. Is that sound like a fair statement? Does Wolfenstein sell systems?
No.
No.
No, I was
Maybe.
impressed. I was in good Watch Dogs,
What's
Assassin's
your-
Creed.
what's your-
Maybe I'll take a shot at Smash Brothers. Maybe it's
Okay,
not.
fair enough.
Maybe
There you go.
it's not as big as people think it's going to be. Yeah.
Bayonetta 2.
Oh, come on! A game with expectations.
I'm gonna.
I just said a game. Okay.
I mean, they're already fucked up by
Then I'm
fucking
gonna-
Halo.
over hair.
I'm going with Halo.
Then I'm gonna go with. I'll go with Infamous then.
Okay.
I think it depends what you consider a failure. Like, is Killzone a failure because it got 7s? Like, is
No,
Is
it's
it
probably
not
where
Killzone
it
sucks?
I would-
I would
say-
was for the
Get
series.
your nose on camera.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
It's awesome. Just flick it 3D. Get it on the end of the.
oh boy.
I would say does not meet expectations is considered a failure. Doesn't move the units. Doesn't get the.
No, because by that logic,
I don't know.
Tomb Raider was a failure, and that game was awesome.
Oh
Listen,
no! Well,
they-
critically,
let me-
I'd say
let me
critically,
tell-
not commercially.
Let me tell you
We're talking
what the
critically
plan
here.
with Tomb Raider was. Tomb Raider. Okay, I said it. I don't know if I said it out loud or if I said it in our chat. Tomb Raider wasn't supposed to come out on current gen. Tomb Raider was meant to be a next gen game coming out when it's coming out in January, but they needed a little money boost. So they downported it, kicked it out the door. So here you go. They always had that definitive collection. That game is not being upscaled
that-
for next gen.
No,
that
'cause
game
it-
was built.
It
yeah,
got
I-
delayed like 6 months though.
I don't think you.
It wasn't supposed to come out in March. That was a 2012
I
game.
understand, but I'm saying they were working on the next gen. Maybe something happened. They needed a little extra money boost for it, and kicked out that one. I think Tomb Raider, just from the looks, the comparisons that I've seen, and I know, yeah, the PC one looked all awesome with the flowing hair and broke fucking graphics cards and stuff. But from everything
that
that you
Nvidia.
guys have hyped that game, and that's been one that I've kept off my radar. It's like flip down. I'm like fucking Tomb Raider, and you guys are like,
Old news.
Yeah.
Old game is old.
But like,
game of the year next year, Tomb Raider. Calling it now.
wow.
They have a pathetic title of next year.
yeah.
Everyone would flop. By that logic, everything would flop.
Like, I don't think we
That's what
can.
I'm planning
Do you
on.
think we can grade games as flops, whether how they do critically or commercially? Because those are, I mean, some games sell well, but
I
are not
think
good.
you have to take a little bit of both. A
Yeah.
little bit of column A, column B.
Because if you
I-
sell
I
3
find
million
critically
units
better.
for
It's
I mean,
six,
more important. Actually.
Like here's a prime example is
if
for
that
me.
game sells well, I don't consider it a success. Like,
Yeah,
Which
but
one?
it'll garner a sequel because of
maybe
investors.
no. I think there's been cases there.
Overlord. Overlord didn't score particularly well. Got a sequel
A
because
lot
it
of
sold
bad games get
units.
sequels.
Well,
Yeah,
we live
like
in a
Mass
sequel.
Effect.
We live in a sequel.
Yeah.
Oh come on.
Worst
That's
in
what-
the franchise.
Which one? All of them.
Just, oh, yeah, one's combat. Okay, I'll give you that. Because I struggle through that still. Everything
I-
else, gold.
There's a
Yeah,
lot. Of,
BioWare, you're the best.
there's a lot of games that critically do well, but just don't sell,
Mhm.
and they don't have sequels. But there's still successes, in my opinion. Tomb
Wait
Raider
for it,
is
wait
not
for
really
it,
one
wait
of them.
for it.
Darksiders 2.
Heavy Rain.
Oh, where are you going with that one, though?
It's so it's.
I don't
We're
think
talking
that was
about-
either. That didn't sell a whole lot, and it was received weirdly.
Yeah.
But I think everybody that like, you guys missed your opportunity to go. Okay. I was in the company when that game came out. Okay. We didn't get a whole lot of copies.
The company.
The company didn't get a whole lot of pre-orders on it, but could not keep that game in stock for 6 months. Okay, because of the
There was demand.
word of mouth
Yeah.
and the interest in it. Mark, you were in the company at the time.
I was. I actually
Could you
went.
keep Heavy Rain in stock?
I don't believe No, I definitely couldn't. I even went to the. There's a. What the hell do they call it? There was a pre-launch party at.
Mhm.
What's the Sword of the Future? Brickyard.
Brickyard.
And honestly, it wasn't packed. I mean, they opened up specially for it. There was special people from France, I think, who came in, were developers who were showing it off, and there wasn't that many people there. But damn, that thing looked cool, and it was awesome because I actually got to play it there too.
I would say critically, even though it's a weird game, it's supposed to be a weird game. People generally who played it from start to finish enjoy it and still talk about it well.
Jason.
So to me, that would be not a financial success, but that's going to be one of those cult niche games.
Well, the good thing about how they
I
make
got a
that
good
game,
example.
though, is that they use motion capture for nearly everything. And after that initial investment, it's a ton cheaper than having anyone animate that.
Yeah. My example, Tony, you'll like this one. Resident Evil 6.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It sold well,
did,
but it was
and it shouldn't
awful.
have.
It's a good game.
Like, is there going to be a Resident Evil 7?
Fuck yeah, there will be.
No, they're gonna fucking reboot the franchise.
There's going to be
They
more
would have
Resident
announced
Evil.
it by now.
There will be more Resident
Okay,
Evil.
because they were annualizing Resident Evil at that point.
There's going to be more Resident Evil,
Oh, yeah.
even though that was critically a bomb. I don't
Yeah,
think
that would be a bomb.
I didn't play the
Under
game
five.
yet, and
I
did.
did. I did. You know what
I
happened?
think you trolled when
I
they
started
did the
playing
game.
it,
Yeah,
and
a
then a
little bit.
cutscene started, and then I played for 30 more seconds, and another fucking cutscene.
Why couldn't
and then
I
I
jump
jumped in a
down
fucking
there?
helicopter, and it went to a cutscene, and I'm like, fuck this, man. I'll just watch it on YouTube.
Mark style.
You can
Mark
Mark
style.
I mean, if you want me to watch a
Creatures,
movie,
yeah, fuck yeah.
if you want me to watch a movie, put it in a fucking theater, and I'll go watch it.
Yeah.
Or do what
Okay.
Square Enix did when they put the fucking
Advent
Kingdom
Children,
Hearts.
or
Yeah.
Advent Children, or
Or
whatever.
that
you know,
too,
that's
yeah.
fine. I bought both the Resident Evil movies that they put out from Capcom. I own both of them. You want me to fucking buy your shit? I'll buy your shit. But don't make me play garbage. Don't make me walk fucking 5 feet just to fucking get to another goddamn cutscene.
Do you know Cliffy B's stance on the watching the game? It's because you probably weren't fucking interested. He actually said fucking interested in buying the game in the first place.
It's true.
That's why you watch them.
Yeah.
But that I don't think how it does commercially, how fans buy it or not matters into what I consider a success. Like I'm more concerned with critically how good of a game it really is. So there's a lot of games like I mentioned Darksiders 2. It's one of my favorite games of last gen, but it didn't do well.
Sales wise.
Yeah,
Here's
and
a
it's-
prime
that
example of one that did moderately well, has really good cult following to it, and didn't garner a sequel because EA just didn't want to do it, and that was Brutal Legend.
Brutal Legend. Yeah.
Brutal Legend. They met their sales goals with Brutal Legend. They met what they expected to sell with it. EA passed on it. Said we don't have an interest in it. Shit like that happens. Back to reviews, really quick. There is one site that I checked that I like the reviews because they don't give it a number. They just say
Buy
good,
it,
bad,
rent it.
and they give you like 3 pros and 3 cons, and that's Kotaku. They call them the quick reviews or whatever it is. So they give you like 1 or 2 paragraphs describing what's going on, and then like Tony said, at the bottom they just kind of give you a quick synopsis of what it is, and I like theirs because
I read those.
huh?
I read those too.
Yeah,
It's quick.
so it's not like here's a definitive sticker on it. It's like
Yeah.
Considering I will probably read the few paragraphs on 3 or 4 different reviews of a game anyway, having a nice quick one like that's perfect.
yeah, I appreciate theirs.
Fucking A.
I'm sorry, did I hijack? You got anything, man?
No, I'm pretty much good.
Or did you low jack?
Well, one other thing I
Just
want to
jacked
mention. Like, one of the weirdest things about
Mid-jack?
reviews, this is actually something that kind of bothers me. I recently did a study on looking at aggregate scores of Microsoft games over their 3 consoles. Over the original Xbox, all of the launch games that they came with, all the Xbox 360 games, and all the Xbox One games. And it was remarkable how amazing the original Xbox lineup was in terms of scores, and actually how good the 360 lineup was in terms of scores, and then how awful the one. And I don't know if that's more of a sign of how good games have gotten now, that there's more lower scores for good games.
I think that's what it is. We were easier to impress
Yeah.
a few years back.
The prime example would be Forza. I think anybody you ask who's a fan would probably say Forza is the best Forza game. I mean, those get better every year, every 2 years when they come out, usually, right?
Forza 4 is the better game. Forza 5 is prettier and newer and shinier and fun.
You think Forza 4? Okay.
Oh yeah, Forza 4 is the best racing game ever made.
I mentioned that because aggregate review scores, Forza 5 is the worst Forza game. It now marginally worse, but like people don't think it. Wow.
Yeah, it got like low 8s instead of 9s and 10s. I know what you mean.
So like when you look at a side-by-side analysis, all things considered, it's like, oh wow, this actually and the same thing with Dead Rising, and the same thing with Killzone, and like every single game that came out, and it's kind of weird. Like,
I think the only issue that I see with that is, kind of like when they came out. Okay, for instance, like I remember you gave us the numbers on Dead Rising, and Dead Rising wasn't a launch title for the 360. It was within the first 2 years. Okay, but it was a new franchise from the masters of the zombie game, Capcom, right? So of course there was going to be interest, and again, we weren't wowed at that point. Okay, then Dead Rising 2 came out, and that just got really weird. Okay, it did. You know, when you can put serve-bot heads on zombies and run around dressed like Borat in the game, it got really weird and added a new element. Then you get to Dead Rising 3, which visually and I would say like the amount of zombies on the screen, it far eclipses 1 and 2, but it is more the same. You're gonna see a diminishing return to some degree also.
Well, I think a lot of what they do, maybe they learned a little bit from the past, or looking into the future. Now they're like, we know, everybody knows this, that none of these launch titles are really going to be considered amazing games.
Other than Call of Duty 2,
they're all sent out.
Those are the only one launched 360 that held up well, I think.
They're all sent out to die. The install base is too low. These are unprofitable games. You're losing money making, but you need something to launch with.
Yeah.
Why do you think all the big guns like Uncharted and God of War and stuff weren't ready for the PS4? And why do you think Gears of War and Halo weren't ready for the Xbox? It's not that they couldn't pump these games out. It's that
hell, even
they're
Fable.
They're sent out to die. You have to wait till you have 5 or 6 million. These are like secondary
mostly
IPs.
AAA, mostly
They're
all
good-
the
they're
big,
great
the big
games.
three companies.
I don't necessarily completely agree, because I think Killzone over its life will probably still sell over 2 million.
Killzone 3 sold way more than that.
Maybe it might not hit, but I wouldn't say sent out to die. I think they still might be profitable actually. But maybe you're not getting those loads of money.
Yeah.
Well, see, like another example is with Forza 5. That I consider that one of Microsoft's AAA titles.
Yeah.
But when you have such a high caliber installment like Forza 4, where it was 2011, I believe, Forza 4, fall of 2011, October 10th, 2011 was the exact date of that. Another reason.
October 11th?
Yeah.
It was like 10, 11.
My birthday.
10, 11, 11 or something.
10, 11, 11. Because people are still playing that one. So that still has a great install base. They knew that not all those people were going to transfer over to the Xbox One.
Forza's going to sell that well, though.
Yeah, but by the time Forza 6 comes out, they'll have fine-tuned everything that they're working on.
I think like cumulatively, like Forza 2, 3, 4, and 5 like didn't even sell what GT5 sold. They sell like 2-3 million a thing. Like GT5 sold like 12 million units. It's the highest selling PS3.
Forza sells much better than that actually. I think they're much higher numbers. I'll have a look at that, but
GT5 sells way more.
Forza's like the best franchise that sells on Xbox that's exclusive other than Halo.
That's all they have. There's 4 pillars: Halo, Gears, Forza,
I mean, to say collectively, I think the Forza games have actually outsold Gears on the 360.
About Banjo-Kazooie. Don't forget Viva Pinata.
Alan Wake.
Yeah. Clearly.
Alan Wake came out on PC.
Alan.
Jason.
No, you can't go back to it. We can only hit it once a show. I mean, if you guys are gonna do it,
There was times where it's gone 3 times a show.
Yeah, I know.
and then that's when you fast forward a little bit.
But going like when I look back at let's look back at 360 launch, for example. One of the games that I picked up, I picked up a 360 like 5 months after it came out, and I bought Cameo.
Yeah.
I love that game. It was good. Like
For the time, yeah.
We were just talking about Cameo 2 weeks ago.
I actually played it about 2 years after it came out for the first time, and it dated a little bit. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't like, oh wow, but it was Age.
Dark Zero was awful.
Yeah, that one was by far.
I got a question for you, and I know it's a little bit up, below kind of what you do, but you run a Zelda site, okay?
Do you?
How do you guys generally? What is your guidelines for scoring? A
You guys don't
game?
score anything.
I
do
don't
you?
review games. No.
No?
No.
Have you,
You guys are more like fan service. Like,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
no, I mean I get that, but I figured they would still give kind of like a review.
No. We do retro reviews. We
Okay.
don't give scores.
Okay.
That's just our.
See?
Yeah.
Case in point. I love that idea.
There's no point for me to do a score because there's no way for that to have any sort of value really.
Can affect that Metacritic score.
Hey,
10 years
it
down the
could
line.
create legacy sales.
I'll
Yeah.
do videos. I'll do videos and I'll do articles about like specific topics I really liked or things they did great. 5 things I would have changed. Things they just screwed up. Like we do like 30 reviews over the course of like a month.
but
for the same
that's
game.
that's what I wanted a little bit more. I mean, since you're Zelda Dungeon is specific to Zelda. How do you? I wanted to know kind of how you
Yeah.
guys handle it. I didn't necessarily mean that you have to give it a number review, but case in point, you break the game down and hit every single note and every single aspect on it. And I understand that some of these major publications can't do that with their games.
Yeah.
But that's a more honest
Yeah.
way of doing it than giving it a generic number
Our audience
and kicking
is,
it out
our
the door.
audience is pretty core. Like Skyward Sword, we've probably had like 6 different reviews of Skyward Sword posted on our website. None of them have scores, but they're just like blogs of what people thought.
I understand. But like to me, that makes more sense. I'd be more willing to sit there and read that and take that as an opinion, other than a generic number, kind of stuck on a fucking box.
9.5 out of 10. Game Informer.
Forward Compatible says worst in the franchise. Wow, I didn't even get a chuckle out of him. He's so out of it.
Painkiller.
Tony's
6.5 out of 10. Highest reviewed game Forward Compatible's ever done.
Yeah, that's a
Forward Compatible Game of the Year.
painkiller. Hell and Damnation is that what's called?
Yeah.
All right.
yeah. All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's been episode 97. Catch us
3
next week,
more.
same time, same place.
3.
3 more. Oh shit.
Rewind.
Fans Game of the Year comments. We need more votes. Right now, I think Sly Cooper 4's winning.
Nice.
Game of the Year. They're nominated.
Forward
I don't
compatible
remember.
fans choice. Right now, Sly Cooper 4's winning.
Fan Choice Game of the Year.
Okay. Link between worlds.